Duke Sebastian Viermont did not believe in fate. He believed in leverage, in timing, in choosing correctly before others even understood the game. That was how men kept power, not through wishes, through decisions, which was why he found himself deeply irritated by the old woman in the market square. "You look troubled," she said. Sebastian didn't slow his stride. "I look busy. You look alone." That made him stop, not because of the words, because of the certainty behind them. He turned. She sat beside a table crowded with dried herbs, candles, and things arranged to seem meaningful. Wrinkled hands, sharp eyes, an expression too calm to be harmless. "You mistake solitude for weakness," he said. "No," she replied. "I mistake pride for hunger." Silence. Because that was a better answer than he expected. "I don't hunger for anything." The old woman smiled slightly. "Then why are you here?" He glanced around the square. People moved past them, unaware. "This road leads to my estate." "No," she said softly. "It led you to me. You should have left. Any sensible man would have." But Sebastian had never been accused of walking away from challenges. "You have one question in your eyes," she said. "One thing you want." "I want efficiency." She laughed, low and amused. "No man with your face comes to market seeking efficiency." His jaw tightened. "You speak boldly. You listen carefully." A pause. "Make your wish, Duke." "I don't make wishes." "Then make a mistake and call it something else." "You should have walked away." Instead, he said the first honest thing that came to mind. "I want a wife who will never need anything from me." The square seemed quieter. Even the wind felt still. The old woman tilted her head. "A dangerous wish." "It's practical." "No," she said. "It's lowly." He reached for a coin. "This has been entertaining." She didn't take it. "By sundown," she said, "the wrong woman will enter your life." "I'll survive." She smiled again. "That depends on you." He left before she could say more. Because nonsense only became powerful if given time. By sundown, he had forgotten her entirely. Until the ballroom doors opened. The Viermont Charity Gala happened every winter. Necessary, tedious, useful. A room full of smiling nobles pretending generosity while calculating advantage. Sebastian excelled in rooms like that. He stood near the staircase, receiving greetings he did not hear, compliments he did not care about, proposals he would never entertain. Then the doors opened, and chaos entered wearing blue silk. A woman rushed inside, breathless, clearly having run. Her gown was elegant, but slightly crooked at the shoulder. One glove missing, hair loosened by haste. Every eye turned, because disorder was more shocking than scandal in rooms like these. "Apologies," she said to no one and everyone. "Is this the Viermont Gala?" Her voice carried warmth instead of embarrassment. That alone made several people dislike her instantly. Sebastian stared, not because she was the most beautiful woman in the room, though she was striking. Late 20s, luminous skin, dark blonde hair slipping from pinned curls, expressive green eyes that looked alive in a room full of polished masks. No, he stared because she was wrong. Wrong for the room. Wrong for the script. Wrong for him. And suddenly, he remembered the old woman's words. The wrong woman. Who invited her? Someone whispered. "She's from the Ashford side of town. I heard her family lost everything. She shouldn't be here." The woman heard all of it, and smiled anyway. Then she nearly collided with a servant carrying champagne. Sebastian moved before thinking. His hand caught the tray. His other steadied her waist. The room froze. Because Duke Sebastian Viermont did not catch falling women. Especially not unknown ones. She blinked up at him. "Close now." "Too close." "Oh," she said softly. "You're very tall." Laughter nearly erupted and then died in confusion. Sebastian slowly released the tray. Then her waist. "You're late," he said. "I know. You entered through the main doors in a panic. I know. You are missing a glove." She looked at one hand. "Oh, that explains why this one is cold." He stared at her. Because no one responded to him like this. Not casually. Not without fear. Not without agenda. "What is your name?" he asked. "Clara." A pause. "Clara Ashford." He knew the name. A once good family brought low by poor investments and crueler relatives. Useful to no one. Invisible to everyone here. And yet, she did not act invisible. "You were not invited, Miss Ashford." Guests circled them. Clara looked genuinely thoughtful. "That would explain why I couldn't find my name on the list." "Then why are you here?" "Because your steward sent a carriage." "I did no such thing." I assumed that when the horses were decorated with flowers. A servant coughed to hide laughter. Sebastian's eyes narrowed. Someone had played a joke, likely on her, possibly on him. He should have dismissed her immediately. Instead he asked, "And yet you came?" "Yes." "Why?" She looked around the glittering room, then back at him. "Because when life sends a carriage, it seems rude not to get in." The room went still. Because it was absurd. And because it was charming. And because Sebastian Viermont was still looking at her. "You find this amusing," he said. "I find most disasters educational." Again, that warmth. That impossible ease. That complete lack of need from him. The exact wish he had made. And the worst possible woman to grant it. Lady Maribel stepped forward, jeweled and sharp. "Your Grace, surely this misunderstanding can be corrected." Clara stepped back slightly. There it was. The first sign she understood where she stood. Outnumbered. Unwanted. Temporary. Sebastian should have agreed. Instead, he offered his arm. "Miss Ashford," he said calmly. "You arrived in my carriage." "I did." "You did now." The room inhaled as one. "And since you are here," he continued, eyes still on hers, "you will open the first dance with me." Clara stared. Maribel nearly dropped her fan. "That seems unwise," Clara whispered. "Probably. I don't know the steps. Learn quickly. And if I refuse?" Sebastian's mouth almost curved. "Then you be the first." Her green eyes searched his face. For arrogance. For mockery. For a trap. Whatever she expected. She did not find it. "Very well," she said softly, placing her hand on his arm. The contact was light, but it struck harder than it should have. As they walked toward the center of the ballroom, whispers exploded behind them. "Why her? What is he doing? Who is she?" Sebastian kept walking, because he did not know the answer. Only this. Hours ago he made one wish. And now the wrong woman was smiling beside him like trouble had finally found its home. The music began. Soft strings. Measured rhythm. Predictable steps. Everything in the ballroom was designed to be controlled. Except Clara. "You truly should have warned me," she murmured as he guided her into the first turn. "About what?" "I step on people when nervous." "You don't seem nervous." "I hide it through reckless honesty." A pause. "It confuses people." "It does." He moved her smoothly through the crowd. She missed one step, recovered with a smile, then nearly laughed when an older lord glared at them for enjoying themselves. "You're entertained," Sebastian said. "I'm fascinated." "By dancing?" "By watching powerful people panic." His hand tightened slightly at her waist. Not enough to alarm. Enough to notice. "You enjoy danger." "No," she said lightly. "I simply meet it often." The answer settled deeper than the rest. Because it was true. He could hear it in the way she said it. Not dramatic. Not bitter. Just familiar. When the dance ended, applause followed. Thin, uncertain, compulsory. Clara curtsied with surprising grace. Then leaned closer. "Now what?" "You remain." "That sounds ominous." "It's practical. You use that word when doing unreasonable things." He almost smiled. Almost. The room reorganized itself around her. Not kindly, but inevitably. Once the Duke chose to notice someone, everyone else was forced to. Women who would not have greeted her now offered brittle smiles. Men who would never have learned her name suddenly remembered manners. Clara accepted it all with calm amusement, as if she saw through every gesture and chose not to punish anyone for it. That intrigued him more than it should have. "You dislike them," he said quietly when they stood briefly alone near the terrace doors. "No, you distrust them. Sometimes. Then why be pleasant?" She glanced across the room. "Because cruelty is expensive." He looked at her. She shrugged. "It costs too much of me." The words struck harder than elegance ever could. By midnight, 3 mothers had attempted to introduce sons to her. 2 ladies asked where she bought her gown. 1 banker invited the Ashfords to dinner after ignoring them for years. Sebastian watched it happen. Watched society bend toward the light it had mocked hours earlier. He found himself irritated. Not at her. At them. "You're frowning," Clara said. "I often do." "Yes, but this one has purpose." "You're very observant." "I'm often hungry. It sharpens the senses." He turned to her fully. "Hungry." She said it lightly, but not lightly enough. "Our cook resigned last month. Pride makes poor soup." Something cold moved through him. Her family's fall had been worse than rumor suggested. And yet she had arrived laughing. He understood then why her warmth felt so dangerous. It was earned. "You should go home," he said. Her smile dimmed slightly. There he is. I wondered when the correction would come. That was not my meaning. It usually is when powerful men lower their voices. He stepped closer. I mean, you should not return to a house that lets you starve. Silence. For the first time that evening, she looked unsettled. You know nothing of my house. I know enough. That is an unpleasant phrase. It remains accurate. She held his gaze. And where would you suggest I go? The answer came before caution could stop it. Here. She blinked. The room seemed to vanish. Even he heard what he had said. That, Clara replied quietly, is a reckless invitation. Yes, and a serious one. He should have denied it. Should have corrected course. Should have become himself again. Yes. By morning, London had become unbearable. Cards arrived before breakfast. Invitations by noon. Rumors before either. The Duke had discovered a hidden beauty. The Duke had taken pity. The Duke was courting beneath his station. The Duke had lost his mind. Sebastian burned 3 letters unopened. Then found Clara in the breakfast room feeding crumbs to a bird perched on the sill. That bird should not be inside. He disagrees. It's stealing. It's surviving. He stared at her. She offered him toast. He took it without thinking. The bird flew away victorious. You've changed the household in one night, he said. No, she replied. I opened a window. A servant entered, pale. Your Grace. Lord Marston requests audience. Urgent. Marston was one of the men who laughed loudest the previous night. Send him in. Marston entered too quickly, too polished. Your Grace. Miss Ashford. His smile toward Clara was new and false. I've come to apologize for how society has treated your family. You mean ignored us? Clara asked pleasantly. He coughed. Yes, quite. Then to Sebastian. I hope no misunderstanding remains. If Miss Ashford seeks advantageous introductions, my nephew is newly available. The room went still. Sebastian set down his cup. Leave. Marston blinked. I beg your pardon. You mocked her yesterday. A pause. You want her today. Another pause. You may leave before I decide to enjoy humiliating you. Marston fled. Clara stared at Sebastian. That was dramatic. He deserved worse. Yes, she said softly. But you cared enough to bother. He said nothing. Because that was the problem. He did. Why me? She asked later in the garden. No witnesses. No ballroom music. No masks. The real question at last. You had options. I dislike most of them. That is not an answer. No. He looked at the winter roses, bare and thorned. Then at her. I asked for someone who would need nothing from me. She frowned. That sounds lonely. It was. A pause. And then you arrived with missing gloves, no invitation, and more dignity than anyone in the room. Her breath caught slightly. You make chaos sound flattering. You make it useful. Silence. Then. I do need things, she said quietly. Food, occasionally. Security. Perhaps one day a new pair of gloves. I know. And that does not disappoint you? No. He stepped closer. It relieves me. Her eyes searched his face. Why? Because needing nothing is for statues. A pause. I wanted peace. Another step. But I think I wanted someone alive. Tears threatened her eyes, though she smiled through them. That was almost romantic. It was deeply inconvenient. She laughed then. Real and bright and impossible. And something inside him, something locked longer than pride admitted, opened without permission.